Last Week in Sports. It's your boy Al. Let's get right into it. Listen, there's a lot that went into these talks, right? The MVP talks for the NFL. We're going to start with the NFL. Thursday Night Football, Lamar Jackson hosts Joe Burrow and the Bengals, right? Bengals looking to salvage whatever their season is left. They're looking to make a late playoff push. We're halfway through the season now. Thanksgiving game in 2 weeks. They're looking for a way to the playoffs. And was not looking good to begin with going in. Is looking almost non-existent going out and leaving Baltimore. Because Lamar Jackson proved why MV3 talks are very real and he should be the MVP frontrunner. Lamar Jackson is playing football that we haven't seen. This isn't Cam Newton. This isn't Mike Vick. This is Lamar Jackson. He's taken the best parts of Cam Newton, taken the best parts of Michael Vick, and that's Lamar Jackson right now. I mean, he has the deep ball. Excuse me. He has a deep ball, just like Cam Newton can provide you, just like Mike Vick could provide you at times. The accuracy, though, is better than both of them, in my opinion. The accuracy that Lamar Jackson's displaying, especially this season, is more consistent, is better and more consistent than Mike Vick and Cam Newton, right? Because there'd be times where inaccuracy was a big knock on them, like Cannon had the arms. Like the best comp for, in my opinion, a more polished Anthony Richardson, for example, would be a Cam Newton. Right? Like, I feel like Cam Newton and Anthony Richardson, like, those are good NFL player comps. Like, if Anthony Richardson can refine his game, become more disciplined, and just, get more, balance his run game and his throwing game, he can be a Cam Newton-like player. Right? But Lamar Jackson is both Cam Newton and Mike Vick combined, but they're both the best aspects of it. And it's taken a couple of years for him for his throwing game to catch up to his running game. But now, I feel like he's at the weight that he needs to be. I feel like there are seasons where he was too heavy. There are seasons where he was too light. And he was try to do both. Try to become more durable so he can stay longer the season. Less injuries. Also, so he can tank some hits, but made him a lot slower. Too light, he wasn't able to survive. His body wasn't going to be able to survive some of those hits he was taking. But also because he wasn't sliding as much. Now, he slides a lot more. He still takes hits, but he slides a lot more. He's also throwing a lot more, so he's not in a situation where he needs to get hit because, unlike before, he has, in my opinion, the top 3 running back in the NFL. In my opinion, the best running back in the NFL right now, but I know people want to say it's either Saquon or Jahir Gibbs and what's going on in Detroit right now, and I wouldn't be mad at it, but if we're being honest, Derrick Henry's the best running back in the NFL right now. And what he's doing is going to lead him to Offensive Player of the Year and Lamar Jackson to his third MVP. Lamar Jackson took care of the Bengals. Really close game. A lot of weird calls in the end of that game. But at the end of the day, I don't blame them for being like, Lamar Jackson's unstoppable. We have to make it as hard as possible and just go for 2 and win it. I don't mind that call at all. Right? I just mind some of the other calls leading to that. Like, I believe there was like a 4th down play where Joe Burrow threw it to his tight end on like a 9 route. Why? Not maybe not even the coach, but just like decision making by Joe Burrow. I feel like there's easier throws to make than that one on a crucial 4th down play that you had to have. I believe it was a 4th down play. I think it was turnover on downs. And look, man, that defense of Cincinnati is just bad. But I think it's slightly better than the Ravens defense because the Ravens defense, I mean, you let the opposing quarterback throw almost 500 yards on you. What are we doing? So, yeah, that game was awesome, though. Ravens fans have a lot to be happy about, except that defense. That defense is going to get you beat because Lamar is great. Derrick Henry is great, but there's going to be games where that late comeback is not going to be possible. When you get to a 21-7 deficit or something like that, like there's going to be games where maybe Lamar's off or maybe Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry is off or like one gets injured, forbid, but one gets injured or one just is a little limpy going into the game or something like that. And Lamar Jackson is not playing at a beyond, in my opinion, beyond MVP level. that defense is going to get them killed, especially when you lose Kyle Hamilton for who knows how long. Marlon Humphrey is playing out of his mind, but there are games like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Monday Night Football game where he was playing amazing, obviously got the interception and everything, but he got injured and he was out for the remainder of the game. That happened like the second quarter, so he was out for the rest of the game, which is a whole 30 minutes of football. So, and when you do that, you saw how compromised that defense became. And that was with Kyle Hamilton in the lineup. Now imagine without Kyle Hamilton in the lineup. Imagine if Marlon Humphreys gets injured. And, there's a lot of problems with that Baltimore secondary. The front got a lot of pressure. They did pressure Burrow. They did get in his face. Not as much as I would have liked. And that they definitely should have with that offensive line that Cincinnati has. But enough that I think it was an improvement from the last couple of weeks. But the secondary, man. So either the secondary can be as bad as it is, but the front has to get pressure and at least make these throws difficult. Because when you go into the playoffs and you're facing a Josh Allen, who we'll talk about in a later, when you're facing a Patrick Mahomes, who we'll talk about later, when you're facing quarterbacks like that later in the playoffs, when you get to the playoffs, when you get to January, like they're not going to, you can't do that. So we'll see. But so far, MVP 3. I know people are talking about Josh Allen. Josh Allen. They're talking about Lions quarterback right now that I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now, but there's so many issues with that conversation because I feel like, yes, people are saying, oh, there's people who are throwing better or more yards than Lamar Jackson right now. There's people who are rushing or doing whatever, but yeah, but Lamar's doing both. That's my issue with people like saying that Detroit has the two running backs in Detroit are better than the one running back in Saquon Barkley or one running back in Derrick Henry. Is yes, but those are two backs, and if you get rid of one, then what are we talking about? And yes, maybe one has better stats than all that stuff, but like you're looking at how Derrick Henry is literally affecting the game. How Saquon is affecting come on, man. It's not. There's levels to this. We need to understand that. But yeah, there's issues with the Baltimore secondary, but the Baltimore offense is damn near unstoppable right now. Lions survive the Houston Texans. Houston Texans have a lot of glaring issues. One is the offensive line. I think Tunsil went out and never came back. So they already had a depleted O-line, but now they make it even more depleted. So that was an issue. CJ Stroud went out of his mind first half, went quiet second half. I don't think Texans scored a single point in the second half of that game. And like I said, field goals will get you beat. Field goals will get you beat. No matter how many points you gather, if some of them are comprised of field goals, it will get you beat. That means that's less points that the other offense has to score in order to come back on you. And that's exactly what happened. The Lions came back. 5 interceptions, I think. 5 interceptions is just... That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Lamar Jackson is not in that category, bro. Lamar doesn't even have 5 interceptions on the year, let alone... Wait, I could be wrong about that. I don't think Lamar Jackson has 5. I think he has only 2 or 3 interceptions so far in the year. And you threw 5 in one game. So let's pump the brakes on those talks, right? You can't put some of these quarterbacks in the same category as Lamar Jackson this season. This season, all time, there's a discussion with Patrick Mahomes. I'll put Patrick Mahomes on top of Lamar Jackson all time, of course. Super Bowl, and not just Super Bowls. I hate that people have that discussion. Super Bowl MVPs, to me, is important because that's an individual award. That's an individual award. And which is the same reason why I put Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame, because he has Super Bowl MVPs. I believe he has 2. I believe the both Super Bowls he won, I believe he won MVP for both of them. And that's an individual award. Now, the first one, it could have went to some other players, but Eli got it. He has 2 of them, and he has 2 Super Bowl wins. I equate those MVPs, All-Pros, and some stuff like that more than just straight-up Super Bowls, because there's quarterbacks who have been in Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl, and you would not put them anywhere near the Hall of Fame. They wouldn't even sniff the state of Ohio, let alone be in Canton. So I just feel like Super Bowls are important for team success and overall like cherry on top of a resume, but Super Bowl MVPs if you're going to Disney World, like that is more important. Your Disney World trips post Super Bowl is more important to me than just blanket like the Super Bowl. Because obviously, if you're a huge factor, you're going to win that MVP. So that's all I'm saying about that. I know that's probably a hot take for some people, but I feel like that's important in context. So I digress. Lions come back despite 5 picks because they also CJ Stroud I think threw 2 interceptions that game and did not look good in the second half. The whole offense and defense didn't look good. The defense for the Texans looked okay, but I think they buckled in the second half. And obviously, they're going to get tired. They're going to be worn out, especially when their offense isn't staying on the field that much or throwing interceptions, giving short field position, and also, again, injuries in offense. They had a cornerback out, I believe, in the beginning to start the game. I think they lost a cornerback during the game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're missing a defensive tackle as well. Like there's some problems in that defense, and obviously on the offensive side, there's no Nico Collins, there's no Stephon Diggs. Again, the O-line issues. So there are issues, but despite that, you can't be winning like what 23-7 or something, like 23-7, and then let the Lions come back. I mean, that's just you can't accept in if they let's say the Texans did win, you can't accept in wins that you win in losses because that's going to get you beat when all the best teams meet in January because their division right now is comprised of Jacksonville Jaguars, the Colts, and the Titans. Those teams are not going to be in January, right? And if they are, like the only team would probably be the Colts, but they can't get out their own way with Joe Flacco, which is something we'll talk about in a second. So the Texans have issues. Congratulations to the Lions showing their grit, showing that they can come from behind, that their defense is top tier in the league. Their offense is top tier in the league. Their offense is usually like averaging probably like 20-something plus points a game. And the fact they were held to 7 is a huge testament to Houston's grit and defense as well and coaching. DeMeco Ryans is coaching his ass off over there, but there is some depletion problems. I think there's some motivation problems. And I think that because you can't have a 23-7 lead and never score again. That's unacceptable. That's a motivation issue. And again, I'm not taking anything away from the Lions defense, but you can't be up that many scores and just like the Bengals, they were up multiple scores on Baltimore and you don't score or you struggle to score again and you let them just get their mojo back. It's almost like a shot in basketball. Once you see one go in, you better watch out. Right? So that's my issue with the Lions are the Texans. The Lions are in 8-1 now. Like they're looking really good. In my opinion, the Lions are way more impressive than the Kansas City Chiefs who are undefeated. In my opinion, the Lions have a lot more convincing wins. In my opinion, right now, records be damned, the Lions are looking way better and more polished than they were last year. Last year they were really impressive, but to me it was more like, oh, this is a Cinderella story. Oh, this is a lot of pieces all the pieces are starting to come together. Now it's like, okay, we have that season under our belt. We know who we are. We have our identity. We have our coach. We have our coaching staff still. I guarantee that coaching staff is going to be picked apart after the season's over. But a lot of coaching staff came back for this exact reason, and I'm really happy for them. I can see the Lions making a strong playoff push. My Super Bowl prediction is going to be Lions versus Ravens, with the Ravens coming out on top, barely, but coming out on top. But I do see the Lions making a strong, deep playoff run to the Super Bowl. Next, the Jets get grounded by the Cardinals. I mean, this is not a surprise. Last week, in my opinion, was not an indicator the Jets suddenly turn around their season. The AFC is way too competitive to be 3-6 and think you're going to make a run. Because essentially, you're going to have to go undefeated for the rest of the run. I don't think that's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is playing really abysmal football in terms of the whole season. Abysmal football. Your head coach is fired. Your defense is not good after that. Because your defensive coordinator is proved that he cannot be a good head coach. Devontae Adams dropping touchdowns, not looking good. I think it was a mistake to be following Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers around. I think you should have took the great seasons you have with Aaron Rodgers, either re-upped with the Packers and then asked to get traded from there, or go to a team that didn't have, at the time, was it Josh or McDaniels, or was it Gruden at the time? I forgot. But like either way, the Raiders are not a well-run organization, to be honest with you. So I went to a team that had more going on, and like looking how the Ravens are looking throwing the football. I mean, I would have made a way stronger push to go to Baltimore. You got traded to another AFC team anyway. I would have made a strong push for Baltimore, but that's neither here nor there. So the Jets are not looking good. If I'm the Jets, I'm moving on from Aaron Rodgers. I know that's a huge hot take. How much money they gave him, yeah, doesn't matter. He's going to retire in like if I'd be shocked if Aaron Rodgers lasts another 3 years. I think he has another year or two left in him, especially because he lost a year with his injury, obviously, last season. I don't think he has that much time left. And not just because of physically, but also mentally, I don't think he cares, bro. Like, I don't think he cares enough. I'm sorry. I just don't think he cares enough. And I think he cares about his teammates enough. I think he cares about his teammates enough to go out there and try his best. But the Jets didn't give him all that money and give him all this power and control for trying his best. They want playoffs. They want a Super Bowl. That's why they did this. That's why they went and got him Randall Cobb last season, which was crazy. Randall Cobb last season, got him Allen Lazard, got him Adams, got him Devontae Adams. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. Jared Goff, Lions quarterback. Jared Goff. I don't know why I was struggling with the name. It's Jared Goff. I apologize to Lion fans out there. Jared Goff, excuse me. Anyway, Jets need to move on from Aaron Rodgers. It's done. It's cooked. Cardinals are the most confusing team in football. They're just so confusing, but they're really fun to watch because either they're going to give you a masterclass performance or they're going to give you a really weird, scrappy game that's full of inconsistencies at every level, because really the Cardinals is just a bunch of players with like 2, 3, maybe 4 well-known names, and the rest are just plug and play, which is what the Cardinals used to be years ago when they just had like Warner, Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden for a little bit, and like one or two defensive studs. Eventually, Patrick Peterson came in late, late to that tenure because he came really when it was like Carson Palmer time, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the Jets are cooked. They need to move on from that. The Cardinals are a fun team to watch. Marvin Harrison Jr. can be disengaged sometimes, but I think if him and Kyler Murray can gel more and give them another offseason, and hopefully they use that offseason to get more familiar with each other, practice a little bit more, become more of like a duo, I think watch out next year. Watch the hell out. Because right now, with how their chemistry and how everything's going, they're okay. They're pretty inconsistent, but they're okay. But give them an offseason give them a productive offseason is going to be a wrap. But that's on Kyler Murray and coaching staff and Marvin Harrison Jr. to want to do that. So we'll see. Josh Allen, cooking in Buffalo. He is cooking in Buffalo. He's cooking in Buffalo right now, y'all. I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan. I think Josh Allen gets a lot more praise, just like Joe Burrow, than he deserves. But I would say Josh Allen deserves more praise than Joe Burrow, because Josh Allen usually he's like a Brett Favre quarterback where he'll get you a lot of big plays, but he'll get you a lot of boneheaded turnovers sometimes, just like what Jordan Love can do right now. But Josh Allen's cooking. And get him Amari Cooper, man, and get him more time and more reps with these receivers, and also like just not disrupting his flow of the game, letting him just pick you apart. He's cooking. He's cooking. He's up there in the MVP conversation. I think he's way above Jared Goff, but I think Josh Allen's number 2 in the MVP race right now. Here's the issue. In my opinion, there's a huge gap between number 1 and number 2. Number 1 being Lamar Jackson, number 2 being Jared Goff. Or not Jared Goff, Josh Allen. There's a huge gap. And then between Josh Allen and Jared Goff, there's a abysmal. After that 5-pick performance, I would honestly put like Derrick Henry above Jared Goff, in my opinion. Jared Goff's balling, but the way people talked about Lamar Jackson last season with the defense carrying him, I think the Lions have a very great team, and Goff is a cognitive machine that just helps manage the team in a positive way and making less mistakes than he did last night, and he's doing good, and that's fine. Like if I'm the Lions, give me a freaking Super Bowl win, a Super Bowl run, and hopefully a win over Jared Goff MVP campaign, and we don't make it. Like I want them to go to the Super Bowl. So, but Josh Allen's cooking, bro. I think when it comes to January, he's going to be running into problems. I think there are some holes to attack on this Buffalo team that no team in their division can do because the teams in their division are ass. But still, he's finding ways to win, just like Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, they're finding ways to win, but I think their wins are a lot more convincing. I think they have a lot more great stuff going on. I really like what Josh Allen's doing out there. I think the chemistry with him and the receivers are developing. They're getting better, and Josh Allen's improving. He's still getting a little of those turnovers, and those turnovers are going to bite you because the turnovers that he's getting, and not many this season. I'll give him that. He's definitely limited them. But again, the little mistakes you make get magnified really big when you go to that January football. Just like I said, the Ravens. I love the Ravens. I think that I have them as my Super Bowl favorite. But that defense is already being magnified in the regular season. Now imagine in January when it's the best of the best. It's going to be times 20. The deadline's passed. There's no one you can add. There's no one coming back besides hopefully Kyle Hamilton. Like, there's nothing. So right now it is very, very suspect. Especially now, I forgot to say this earlier and I want to say this now. Roquan Smith progressed like crazy. I don't know if he has some injuries he's dealing with or what he did in the offseason. I don't know what he did. But he needs to pick it up. He needs to go do some soul searching. He needs to go in some type of have a pep talk with Ray Lewis right now. Like, he is lost. He looks lost on defense. And the Ravens deserve more than that. And he does too. So yeah, Josh Allen's cooking. I don't know if they're gonna lose another game this season. The way Josh Allen and the Bills are playing, I think they could lose potentially one or two, but it'll be a close one or two. But I would, if you told me that Buffalo's not going to lose another game, like the last loss was against the Ravens, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they're balling, on both sides of the football. Chiefs undefeated season. This is the last of the NFL topics. Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is not playing good football. They're not. Their defense is playing way better than they did last two seasons, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes is not playing good football. He's not anywhere near the MVP conversation. The only reason why people are putting him in MVP conversation is because of the team's success and because of his history. Because he's been outplayed in pretty much every single game. Bo Nix, do not get it twisted. Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes and it wasn't even close. Lamar Jackson, game one, outplayed Patrick Mahomes and it wasn't close. Like, a lot of these quarterbacks are outplaying Patrick Mahomes. The defense of the Chiefs is really phenomenal. The defense coordinator, former Giants defense coordinator, multiple Super Bowl winner, defensive coordinator, is calling it up. Like, Brian Flores was like, if there's like an award for defensive coordinators of the year or something, Brian Flores was winning for like the first 6 weeks. In my opinion, he edged out Spag just a little bit because that defense he was dialing up was crazy. But Spagnuolo has been way more consistent, and the defense is going good. It's going crazy right now, man, for the Chiefs. Some calls are weird. There are some agendas. There are some allegations about them and Taylor Swift. And I'm not one of those people, but after that game against the Broncos, it's definitely suspect. But the Chiefs are very unimpressive to me. I think Patrick Mahomes is a liability for them. I think in January, where it's just one game and go home, I think defenses will exploit what Patrick Mahomes, how careless he is with the football, his indecisiveness, and his lack of chemistry with some of his receivers. But for the Chiefs' plus side, to me, I think it's more of a chemistry issues with his receivers than anything else, which is very fixable. Now, will they do it? I don't know, but it is a very fixable issue. It's not like they don't have the pieces. Yes, they have a lot of injuries, but the receivers they have right now are not bad. And Patrick Mahomes, he can easily figure it out, but it just depends. And Travis Kelce regressed, so it's going to come down to the point of like, okay, what are we going to do Are we going to feature Travis Kelce more heavily in the late playoff push? Worthy, like, once that chemistry goes, and if it's not this season, it will be next season. But like next season, watch out. But right now, it's fixable. It's fixable. But Patrick Mahomes not playing well. Okay, going to NBA news. We got just a couple topics. We'll that by these quicker. Warriors 8-2 equals new life. Listen, the Warriors look good. They look really good. They have a lot of depth. I know they got blown out by the Cavs. But the way the Cavs were playing that game, I don't care what team. You can put the Boston Celtics. The Cavs are going to win that game. The Cavs were shooting like, I don't even know. I think they shot like above 50%. You know what I'm saying? Like from three. Like every shot was going in. And there's games like that throughout the season where sometimes it's like, yo, this team's not going to miss. And that's it. You just have to call it a day. Right? You just have to call it a day. Now, that doesn't bode well because that means that if a team does catch on fire, even if it's not that fire, but they catch on fire, the Warriors have a problem getting stops and then return the favor. So that's an issue. That's not something you want to see because you never want to get blown out because that means that you have the possibility of getting blown out again, especially by the same team that you might see if it comes to a finals run or whatever. You never know when you're going to see them again like that. So that's the issue. But right now, I like the depth. I like the defense. I think Steph Curry has new life, not only because of Buddy Hield and Draymond staying out of trouble, but also just the fact that the non-Curry minutes. I mean, look, Curry was injured for a couple of games this season, and they're 8-2. That's not happening last season. That's the last season. They probably would have went like 0-6 without Curry, and 0-6 badly without Curry. Andrew Wiggins is still playing pretty inconsistent. I don't like that, but he had some injuries, flu, stuff like that. So hopefully he ramps back up. He stays in more games and gets more life under him, gets some more conditioning under him. But they look really good. They look really, really good. I think the Olympics really revitalized Steph Curry and LeBron James. Not that they per se needed it, but like it definitely gave them more youthful energy and more like, yo, this is what it's like to win a championship. Because let's be honest, Curry has been sooner than LeBron. LeBron hasn't won a championship since 2020. Curry hasn't won a championship since 2022. But either way, they're both used to always being in the finals. They haven't really sniffed the finals in a while. And so being in a championship game, whether it was the Olympics, but still being in a championship game and winning at the ultimate stage for the international way, I know it gave them new life to want to chase that feeling again and remind them what it's like. They're hungry for it, and they're both playing like it. So good for the Warriors. Lakers have identity issues. JJ Redick I think he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. I actually think he's going to be a good coach. AD's playing very, very, very well. Very well. LeBron has his nights, but he's also 40 years old. So, come on. The rest of those players, though, like Austin Reed, some of these players, man, have some issues, man. They have some issues. And JJ Redick is going to have to do something that a lot of Lakers coaches haven't done in a while, and that's make decisions that's best for the team. And I think I like that he did that with D'Angelo Russell and Cam Reddish. I think that was a very important step of JJ being a solidified coach for a team like the Lakers, because Laker coaches in the past may not have done that and may have just let it ride and let some BS keep happening. JJ's look, we can't keep playing. We started 4-0, and now we're 4-4. This lineup's not lining up. We got to make some adjustments. Some guys have to play more on selfish basketball. We need more team basketball than this individual BS, and this is what we're doing. And that's why I like players like JJ who are specialists. Specialists or people who are bench players or semi-bench players. I like them being coaches because they know and see the bigger picture of okay, I like this. I like our point guard. I like some of the other players, but they don't know that they have roles to play. They're all trying to be stars and trying to get the most points and accolades and all. No. On our team, we have 2 All-Stars. That's LeBron James and that's Anthony Davis. The rest of you are specialists who are here to do a job to make it easier for them to score and them to get rest when they need to during the stretches of the game. And sometimes players who are really, really great, you're Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, LeBron James, stuff like that, cannot be coaches because they never thought that way. They've never been in a role. They've never been role players. I meant to say role players, not bench players. They've never been bench players. They've never been role players. They've just been like, hey, you're the god of this team. Like we live and die by what you do every night. Like players like that have trouble fathoming how to coach players because those players are not you. Like, and they don't know how to like really assign roles in a way that doesn't completely demean and break a player's confidence. So I like what JJ is doing. They have some identity issues, but I do think that in a year or two, the Lakers will be a lot better. But LeBron's not going to be here, potentially. Like that's not something you want to hear. I know Lakers fans, they have a shot, but it's going to take some coaching. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think next year they'll be a lot better, not only with personnel and maybe a trade or two, but also just like JJ will have a better grasp on what pieces he wants, like, who wants to play what. OKC on series, that's something Draymond kind of alluded to on his podcast about OKC kind of being a little unserious. Yeah, because OKC should have beat the Warriors. But I know that Chet went down, but still, the OKC is very stacked. They have a lot of pieces. I think they need to lock in. I think they need to lock in a little bit. They're a little bit like, oh, we have a lot of talent. We can win. They're kind of like what the OKC Thunder was with, like, I'm not comparing the two teams like that. They're very different. But the OKC Thunder with Durant, Harden, Westbrook, like Ibaka, all that stuff, they're kind of like, oh, we have a lot of talent and we can win. Now, granted, that Durant team, why I said they're very different, is that Durant, Harden, Ibaka, and Westbrook team is that you can tell they built a lot of chemistry together. They're a very competitive team, So there's stuff like that, and I really appreciated that from those players. All right, y'all, is Zion a bust? Zion is not a bust. Zion is not a bust. Zion has some issues, though. Zion has some issues, bro. I don't know. These injuries, is Zion going to get another... It could be a situation, I'm not even kidding, where his next payday is going to look very vet minimum. Very vet minimum. I'm not kidding. I'm not even trying to wish that on this boy, but his injury history, the weight issues he faced for the last couple, like, it's just a lot of unseriousness, and it's going to come to a point where if I'm the Pelicans, you're better with Zion Wilson on the court 1,000%. But that team is not built to win. It's just not. And especially when you trade Alonzo, it's just no. But also, I just don't think CJ McCollum and Zion are good together at all. I don't think CJ should even be on that team. I don't think Murray is going to be the factor to lead that team to anything more than what they were last year or last couple of years. I just don't think Zion's good. I think it's going to be an issue. If he keeps on not playing games, bro, when his contract's up, it's going to look they're going to have a very uncomfortable conversation with the boy and be like, look, man, you're going to have to sign this vet minimum somewhere because you can't stay healthy. We know what you can do, but my God, you can't stay healthy. You're not serious. You don't take your diet seriously. Like, we have to, like, literally force you and put a lot of monetary assets in place for you to take your stuff seriously. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. But that's it for last week in sports. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, like always. See y'all on the next one. Let me know your takes on anything we talked about. I really love pushback and discussions with these because I just love sports. I love talking about it. See y'all on the next one. Peace.